AEW Dynamite for a second straight week in a row was on for 4 hours. I did not watch all 4 hours. I wasn't going to. I only watched Dynamite. I did not watch Collision. So there was that. I did watch what happened to Kenny Omega in the main event. We will talk about that when we get to it. And it was pretty okay. So let's get into AEW Dynamite. Summer blockbuster from June the 11th, 2025. An okay show for the most part. So we start the show off with Hangman Page and Christopher Daniels. So Hangman Page is walking backstage. Christopher Daniels shows up. He gives him a pep talk about the Death Riders. Now he needs backup, and he knows some guys that are going to back him up in case things get nasty. So that's pretty cool there, I guess. So I assume now that they have reinserted Christopher Daniels into the story, the Death Riders at some point will attack him and take him out. So we've got 4 weeks to see how that plays out. So that should play out kind of nicely. Moving on. So this leads us into the first match of the night, Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland. It leads into a draw. It goes on for 30 minutes. And I don't think Justin Roberts even announced that it was going to be a time limit to this thing. But basically, they threw everything at each other but the kitchen sink, basically. Swerve ended up doing a Deadeye in this match as well, which is pretty cool. So that's interesting. They kicked out of each other's finishers and all that, so yada, yada, yada. Towards the end of the match, Swerve hit the vertebreaker. Will, he rolled out onto the apron. And then Swerve was taking forever to do the Swerve Stomp, and basically that was it. It was a draw. So the fans chanted bullshit. They're upset about it, and I figured that would happen. So then Swerve, he gets on the mic, and he says that he and Ospreay prove that they're the best, but in order to really prove it, they need to finish matches. So Swerve wants sudden death. He should have just said overtime. So then the Death Riders, they show up. And then the Young Bucks, they show up, who they've not been there for a couple of weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. They show up, they beat the shit out of Swerve. So they take off their shoes, the Young Bucks. They end up putting on some Allen Iverson Reeboks covered in thumbtacks. So both of the Bucks attempt to do the super kick to Swerve, but Will Ospreay shields Swerve from the super kick, and Ospreay goes down. He's bleeding everywhere. I'm like, what the hell? And then he's checked on by the doctor. So that's fine. So I'm guessing they're going to set up Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland versus the Young Bucks at All In. I guess that's fine. Do I give a shit about the Young Bucks? No, I don't. I despise the Young Bucks. They fucking suck. They really do. The Young Bucks with me have go-away heat. I don't care if they're face or heel. Get them off my fucking television. Seriously. Moving on. So, Renee Paquette, she's backstage with Kazuchika Okada. So Don Callis walks in and wants to know why Okada is in this match and not Kyle Fletcher or Takeshita. So, Okada then grabs Don Callis' wrist, and the rest of the Don Callis family show up. Okada lets go, and then he calls Don Callis a bitch first. All right, that's fine. Moving on, Mistico, he defeats Blake Christian. Yes, Blake Christian can do every single flip, kick, and dive known to man, and he still can't get himself over. He's no different than Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, and the like. But for whatever reason, he's a heel, and he still can't get over with doing babyface shit. I don't know. Maybe, just maybe, he might need to hang up his boots and get him a regular job, because this pro wrestling thing, it ain't working out. If you can't get over as a heel or a babyface in pro wrestling, you really don't need to be in pro wrestling, because you always want to get a reaction, good or bad. And we heard crickets. Well, I heard crickets while watching this shit. So, whatever. Mistico ends up getting the win via the Avalanche Spanish Fly from off the top rope for the 1-2-3. Post-match, the Hurt Syndicate, they show up. So, MJF has a message for Mistico. MJF was impressed by Mistico, and that's not easy since MJF is the most complete wrestler in the business today. Mistico will get his match next week against MJF in Mexico, and he's getting the Patriot. He's dusting off the red, white, and blue. God bless the United States of America. God bless your American champion. God bless your American hero, MJF. So Stars and Stripes, they play. That plays. The American flag drapes down from the ceiling. It's got MJF on the flag, which is pretty cool. So basically, this pisses off Mistico. He gets on the mic, says something in Spanish. MJF has the MVP translate for him. MJF says Mistico isn't Mistico to him. He's just the sloppy Sin Cara. And then Mistico then decks MJF with a right hand. And then the Hurt Business, they show up to kick the ass of Mistico. But then Kevin Knight, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Masca Dorado, a.k.a. Grand Metalik, they show up and make the save. So that was pretty cool there. Good shit. This leads us into the Hurt Syndicate defeating Speedball Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight, and Masca Dorado. Match was so-so. It is what it is. Sure, Lashley did some selling for the small guys, but Kevin Knight's got some size on him. He's not small like Mike Bailey and Masca Dorado. So there's that. It don't really fucking matter. So basically what happens post-match is basically, so what happens is MJF gets the win via the Hammerlock DDT. Then post-match, MJF attempts to remove Dorado's mask, and then Mistico makes the save, and that sets up the match for next week. So that should be fun. Hopefully AEW in Mexico is going to be fun. It should be. It's very interesting. I know people don't like the MJF Patriot stuff. Who cares? Again, they're going to Mexico. The Mexican crowd loves that shit. Like, seriously. Stop complaining. Stop bitching and moaning. Moving right along. So Hangman Page shows up. His music hits. And then he's beaten down by the Death Riders. They gag him and bound him. They tie him up. They have his hands handcuffed and duct tape over his mouth. So Jon Moxley wants to talk to him, and he doesn't want any distraction. Moxley has been watching Hangman for a while, and he doesn't understand him. He doesn't like him. Page has 4 weeks to turn into the man that everyone expects him to be. But he decides to headbutt Moxley, which is pretty nasty. And then the Death Riders, they're about to do some more beatdown. My bad. I apologize. The Death Riders, they're about to pounce and beat up Page some more, but the Opps make the save. And then Hangman says that he's going to hunt down any Death Riders that he can find. This is fine, I guess. This gets some okay heat. Again, we still got 4 weeks left to go. Can we do something more than just this? I don't really know. I'm guessing at this point, maybe Tony Khan will go with Hangman, maybe not. I still think that, this is just my point of view, that Jon Moxley is probably going to end up winning. I hate to say that shit, but it seems like Moxley's going to win. I still think that more than likely Darby might show up at All In, and then maybe you set up something between him and Moxley at Wrestle Dream, and maybe that's where the Moxley storyline ends. Maybe I don't fucking know. I hope I'm wrong, but for whatever reason, I got a feeling that Moxley's going to retain at All In. I just do. For whatever reason. I hope I'm wrong, but I got a feeling that this Death Riders bullshit is going to still continue. So, whatever. Moving on. Megan Bayne is defeated by Ty Mello. Not good. Not good. Not good. Megan Bayne has been in the company for about 3 months now, and she's looking up at the lights to Ty Mello. That's not good, and she's probably all but, I'd say, between 120 to 130 pounds at best. It makes no fucking sense, but it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. Moving on. So then we get a video package highlighting the history of Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada's, what they've done in New Japan and all that jazz. It's not really all that important. If you've seen the matches, you've seen them. If you have not, you're not missing nothing really special. Their matches have all been long. They've wrestled over an hour at one point. They've also wrestled for 45 minutes. It's just a lot of shit. If you didn't watch New Japan in 2017 and 2018, I don't know what to tell you. Really, I don't. I know the geeks online are creaming their pants because we're getting Okada and Omega again, and it's really not that. It's really not all that serious if you want to be honest. These guys are basically 8 years older than they once were. They're both beaten down, especially Omega, and definitely Okada. Like, both guys have lost 2 or 3 steps. Like, they really have. And I feel that this is probably going to be one of the main events. It's not going to be a co-main. I think what they're probably going to end up doing is having a triple main event. So this will probably maybe be the start of that. Then the Mercedes Tony Storm, that would be the co-main, and then the main event would probably be Moxley and Hangman. That's what I'm pretty much predicting and putting out in the universe. Moving on. So the closing segment. So it's the contract signing between Omega and Okada. So basically, they revealed the brand new belt. It looked pretty okay. It's going to be winner take all, and it's going to be for the Unified Championship. So Okada basically just signs the contract. Kenny gets on the mic and says that he recognizes the man in that video package, but let's all leave it on the line one final time. So Omega then signs the contract. Omega extends his hand, and then Okada accepts. They shake hands. So Don Callis shows up to interrupt. He says, why isn't Kyle or Takeshita in this position? So Omega then just loses his fucking cool. He says, cut the shit. Kenny's been there, and he's beaten all those guys. But if they want a shot at the belt, they have to wait in line. And Omega knows all of Don's tricks. And then out of nowhere, Okada beats the shit out of Omega. He hits him in the back with a police baton. And then Okada hits Omega in the stomach with the baton. Then Okada does an elbow drop. Omega is on a little mini stretcher. Then Okada does another elbow drop. And then they're lifting Omega up on the gurney. Okada gets on the top rope again, and then he does another elbow drop. Omega's mouth just explodes with blood. It's like super dark red, so I don't know if it was like Hawaiian Punch or High C or whatever the fuck, but it was it was definitely just like some red dye. So I mean, he's okay, and that was it. And then Don Callis and Okada get out of Dodge. So this was okay. I'm a fan of this. This makes sense. Hopefully we'll get more to this. We should not see Omega until the Go Home show to All In. So that is what they should do. We should maybe get a couple of vignettes where Omega is in the hospital and trying to recover and everything else and all that. And maybe you have doctors around him saying that, there's a chance he might not be able to wrestle again and stuff like that. So, put some really good heat on it and keep the feud going. Dynamite was okay. It was a lot better than usual. This was okay. The Moxley Hangman stuff is all right. I'm down with that. Will Ospreay being the Shield for Swerve is okay. Obviously, that sets up the tag match with the Young Bucks, which I'm fine with. Tony Storm and Mercedes Moné, they didn't do anything on this show, but I'm pretty sure they did something on Collision, so that's not important. So another week was wasted when it comes to that. Megan Bain losing, that pissed me off, but what can you fucking do at this point, really? But all in all, Dynamite was okay. And the Omega Okada stuff was really cool. I do like that. But I wish that we could get Kenny Omega away from the Don Callis family. They've been feuding for about a good 2 to 3 years, and you don't need for a feud to continue that long. It just doesn't make any sense. And I know I'm not the only one that feels this way or shares this same sentiment, but really, they need to move on from the forever Omega and Don Callis feud. It's getting kind of annoying. I believe they've been feuding since 2023, and that's way too long, in my opinion. It's almost like the Judgment Day shit, where they're going to, tease a breakup and all that jazz. That's kind of what it feels like to me, but whatever. But what did you guys think of Dynamite? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.